Now, lawmakers have renewed calls for President Buhari to declare a state of emergency on the nation's security situation. They insist Nigeria is under siege and should seek the services of mercenaries to supplement the efforts of security agencies in containing the situation. This follows the deaths of dozens of people gruesomely murdered in Plateau and Benue States by suspected bandits and killer-herdsmen. Our National Assembly correspondent Jakadisa reports on this.
Almighty God, creator and ruler of heaven and earth.
Motions on insecurity from virtually every part of the country have become regular on legislative days here. On this day, 2 motions detailed the indiscriminate killings, rape, kidnapping, and destruction of property in Plateau and Benue States.
Nigerians are being killed on a daily basis, Mr. Speaker. The 4 angles of Nigeria, nowhere is safe. Mr. Speaker, what is beating my imagination more, aside of the killing, is who is responsible, not in terms of the people that are committing those atrocities. Nigerian governments have come out in different occasions to say they know them.
This matter has created fears among our constituents, and it poses grave danger in many ways, which could include negative reactions from our constituents.
It is a display of emotion, anger, and frustration as members contribute to the 2 motions. They accuse some of the security agents of aiding and abetting bandits and renew calls for the sack of the National Security Advisor and the Minister of Defense.
It is so sad that we have come to a situation in this country where evil is perpetrated and no one is held accountable.
There are cases where we understand that information were passed to the security personnel, and still these terrorists overcome the ordinary Nigerian people. This is a failed state.
The executive headed by Mr. President must know that Benue, our lives matter. We come here and we cry, and today again Benue is bleeding.
I don't know what argument anybody can give to insulate the security agencies in terms of doing their duty to ensure that this thing does not happen.
The House seeks relief materials for displaced persons and urges the presence of Joint Security Task Force in affected areas. As part of solutions to the increasing wave of insecurity in the country, the legislators urged President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately invoke Section 83, subsection 1 of the Constitution for the release of contingency fund to enable the country that the services of mercenaries. Jakadisa, TVC News, Abuja.
Thanks for joining us on TVC News this hour. President Muhammadu Buhari is currently presiding over the Council of State meeting at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The meeting started at 10 a.m. and has in attendance Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, National Security Advisor, Chief of Staff to the President. Also in attendance are former heads of state Goodluck Jonathan, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, and General Yakubu Gowon. The chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum is leading about 6 other governors physically present at the council chambers, while the others join virtually from their respective states. Before the commencement of proceedings, the Council of States observed a minute's silence in honor of former head of the interim national government, Ernest Shoneko, who died on the 11th of January. This is the 4th Council of State meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari this year. The meeting is expected to deliberate on important national issues, especially matters of security and the economy. It's now 8 years since hundreds of schoolgirls were abducted from the remote village of Chibok in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. On the 9th of April the 14th, 2014, Boko Haram militants invaded the government girls' college Chibok and kidnapped 276 girls, mostly aged between 16 and 18. Concerned citizens and civil society organizations are still appealing to relevant authorities to ensure the rescue of the remaining girls from their captors. Jesse Tafida reports.
14th April 2014 remains an indelible date in the nation's history. It is the day more than 270 girls were abducted from Government Secondary School Chibok, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. 57 of the schoolgirls were said to have escaped almost immediately after the incident. The terror group Boko Haram claimed responsibility for the abduction in a video released by their then leader, Abubakar Shekau, on May 5th, 2014.
Who are we?
Early negotiation brought a spark of hope. The 200 remaining girls will be released quickly, but this was quickly dashed.
This unconscionable act was committed by a terrorist group determined to keep these girls from getting an education. And I want you to know that Barack has directed our government to do everything possible to support the Nigerian government's efforts to find these girls and bring them home.
All negotiation came to a standstill until 13th October 2016, when 21 out of the girls were released. The successful negotiations between the federal government and the militant group renewed hope that more of the girls will soon come out from captivity. Demands for the release of the remaining girls have been relentless since then, with little result.
They should sit down and strategize what is happening, that this particular thing is not coming to an end. And not only the Chibok girls, there are so many girls who are in captivity.
The Ministry of Defense working on safe school declaration to ensure protection of children in school are well protected.
So I want to use this opportunity to call on the government and relevant agencies to wake up to their own responsibilities to ensure that people's lives and property are protected.
The abduction of the Chibok school girls remain fresh in the minds of Nigerians. Several other abductions have followed, like the 110 school girls from Government Science and Technical College, Dapchi, in Yobe State. Concerned citizens are of the view that Nigerian authorities need to live up to their pledge of protecting the people and double up efforts to provide a safe learning environment for students in the country. Jacita Fida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
Let's bring you stories from another issues, not to labor matters, where the Nigerian Labour Congress has intervened in the lingering disagreement between the federal government and unions in the tertiary institutions that has crippled activities in the nation's universities. The Congress issued a 21-day ultimatum to the government to resolve the issues with members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, and National Association of Academic Technologists. This was contained in a statement jointly signed by NLC President Ayuba Waba and the Congress General Secretary Emmanuel Bwaja. Mr. Waba expressed concerns over the failure of the government to honor its 2009 renegotiated agreement with them. He said after the expiration of the ultimatum, the NLC would decide on the next line of action if the government fails to resolve the impasse within the period.